Hi everyone, this is Aaron here. Just had to make a quick video because I've had a few people ask me in the last couple of weeks what my workflow is and how am I getting the results that I'm getting. So I'm actually I'm after switching to a very simple workflow. So there's a script that I use within PixInsight. It's a very lazy way of doing things, so if you're interested in doing the advanced processing in PixInsight and spending hours at the computer, this is not for you. So for anyone that is either a novice user and just wants to get a result out of PixInsight, or if you're possibly after finishing a long imaging session and you just want to leave it running overnight and have an image ready in the morning that you can see the result of the data that you're after capturing, this is a very good option. So just going to show you here, there's an application I found called AutoIntegrate. It's a JavaScript that runs within PixInsight. It's very simple to install. You go into PixInsight, you go to Resources, Updates, Manage Repositories, select Add, and then you add this web address here. Make sure that the slash is at the end of the address, and then you go back into PixInsight, you go to Resources, Updates, check for updates. That will install the AutoIntegrate application, and then you restart PixInsight and you're ready to go. That's it. Couldn't be any easier. So just show you here, if you go into PixInsight, you go to Resources, Updates, Manage Repositories, as I was saying, and then you'll see I already have it installed here. So at the bottom I have AutoIntegrate. So all you have to do is you click Add and you put in the AutoIntegrate URL, which is what I was just showing you a second ago, and then you click OK, and then click OK again. Once you've done that, then the repository has been added, and then all you have to do is go Resources, Updates, check for updates, and then that installs the application. Once you've done that, you close PixInsight, reopen it, and you're good to go, and then you have the AutoIntegrate application. So very simple to set up, and it'll update itself automatically. Very simple then to use as well. So I'm just gonna rip through an integration here and see what it looks like. I don't know what this is gonna turn out like, so it's kind of on the fly. But I've every confidence that it'll work well because it hasn't failed me yet. So all you have to do is you go to Script, Batch Processing, and AutoIntegrate, this is your new option now since you've set it up. Now for this particular integration, I'm only going to use light frames. I'm not putting in a full set of calibration frames, just going to try and keep this quick. So if I click on lights, and then if I'm already browsed to the directory that I want, so I'm going to process the Rosette Nebula. You can see I have 16 frames here. They are 10-minute frames, so 16 10-minute frames. Click open, and then it adds the frames into AutoIntegrate, ready to go. So there isn't anything to do here. If you had calibration frames, you can add in your bias darks, flats, and flat darks. You don't have to change any of the settings here. You can go in and have a look if you want, but I'd recommend just leaving them as defaults. So all you do is leave these set the way they are and click Run. So it couldn't be any easier than that. It goes through a number of different steps. It starts off, does a cosmetic correction, then it debayers the images, then it does star alignments and all sorts of stuff. So you can see the list here when it's finished. All that you have to do is click Run and go off and make a cup of tea and come back, and it should be finished by then. So I'd say this is probably going to take about 10 or 15 minutes to run through integrating these images, and we'll come back in a couple of minutes and I can show you the steps from there. So something to be aware of, actually, just to mention, when this is running through, you can see the state in the top left hand corner here. It's running a cosmetic correction. Initially when I seen this running, I wasn't sure if it was finished or not, and it had kind of frozen on the left here, so I thought it wasn't doing anything, but it was. So just keep your eye on the top left corner here, and it will tell you when the script is complete, and then you'll know then that you're good to go. So look, we'll leave this running, and then I'll come back to you in a couple of minutes. Well, that's it finished there now. So you can see it took 527 seconds, so less than 10 minutes. And as I was saying, if you see in the top left hand corner here, it says script completed, so it lets you know when it's finished. That's it really. It gives you the image out at the end. Now you can see it's not perfect here. I'm just going to click exit on this so that we can see the image. It's not perfect by any means, but it's actually very easy to get it to being a reasonably good image. So the first thing that I would do here, and it's probably because I haven't used any calibration frames, go to process, background modelization, and background extractor, automatic background extractor. So I just usually change it to subtraction, drag it onto the image, and everyone has their own flavor of these things, but it's just my way of getting it quickly processed. So close the rejection, and then so this is the image. Now this by itself looks reasonable in my head. So what I do from here is, and it's the last step I do on PixInsight, I just separate the stars from the image so that I can process them in Photoshop. So I go to process, all processes, and star exterminator. Star Exterminator is a paid plugin, but if you don't have that, you could use the star mask to separate the stars. But if you don't have Star Exterminator, I'd highly recommend it. It does it much cleaner. So drag that onto the image, and then again, this is going to take a couple of minutes here, so I'll speed this up, and we'll continue in a second. Yeah. Okay, that's Star Exterminator complete. So we have our stars now, and we have our background image. So you can see I already have a reasonable background image here. It's gonna turn out great now when you take it out to Photoshop. So that's the next thing. I'm just gonna save the two files out. Sorry about that there. So file, save as, and I'm gonna create a new folder in here. We'll call it 1.ps for Photoshop, and we'll call this one back. Save. So I'm just going to change them from 32-bit here to 16-bit so you can use them in Photoshop, and the same for the stars now. Okay, that's it. So we can close out of PixInsight now, and then we'll flick back over to the directory that we have the files in. So what was that? Yes. So I'm just going to do a very quick process in here just to see what we have data wise. There's lots of different things you can do, but we'll just do it very rough just to show that it works, and keep it simple. So for anyone that's not familiar with this process of splitting the stars and the background, it's actually the best way to go, because it means you can stretch this and bring out the colors and stuff without damaging the look of the stars. So what I'd normally do here is just go directly into filter, camera raw filter, and then we'll just do a very quick process on it. So I'm just going to bring the exposure up, maybe bring the contrast up a bit, and then probably down to dehaze, give it a bit of dehaze, and you can see it's starting to pop out there now. Maybe bring the highlights up a little bit. Okay, and then maybe bring the whites. Okay. Sometimes clarity is a bit subjective of whether people like it or not. I think it kind of makes it pop a bit more. Now you could do a lot more stuff where you're going to highlight different parts of this to make them pop, and kind of, but then it's kind of into manipulating the image. Usually what I do is I'll come down to the color mixer here and set it to luminance, and then for the reds then, so you can drag it all the way up and you'll see what it's actually targeting here in the image. But what I'll do is I'll just bring it up a little bit to make them stand out, so about 21, and then maybe the saturation on that again, I'll just bring them up and down, maybe about there. I'd say happy, probably maybe down a bit, I'll say 25. And back to the luminance, I'd say for the oranges and this as well, there'll be a fair amount, so maybe if you bring it up, that'll make it kind of stand out. And then down to the noise reduction here, I'll bring that up just a little bit, I'd say. Yeah, probably about maybe about 14, I'd say. Kind of happy enough with that there now. I'm just going to back up to the contrast and maybe just make it a bit more, or maybe leave the contrast and drop the blacks down maybe. Yeah, I think that looks good. So click OK. And you can see the difference in it now. It's really popping out. So last thing we have to do now is add our stars back in. Put the file open. Grab the stars. Control A, Control C, and then just drop them in. And then on the right hand side here, when you're selecting the blending mode, make sure you have your stars selected, which is this layer here. And then for a blending mode, then you can choose one of these here, light and screen, color dodge. So what I've found is a lot of these, even though they kind of make the background pop a bit more because there's less stars, they look a bit fake. So I usually like to go for the linear dodge add and just add all those stars back in. Now you can take some of them out if you want, but I think they look nice the way they are. So again, it's all subjective of what you prefer yourself. Now I'm kind of just looking at that background there. It's a little bit too bright, so I'm going to go to image adjustments, brightness and contrast. Maybe just drop it back just a fraction. Probably about there, I'd say. And that's it. So you can't get any easier than that. That was a very simple process. All you have to do now is go to layers, merge visible, and that's it. Export your image and you're good to go. So that's it. If you have any questions, you can either leave them in the comments, or if you want to drop me a message directly, I'd be happy to help.